Defense has 3 check boxes that we need to check in our training. One is this: the grit, the effort, and learning how to give it your all. It's also about skill, angles, timing, and strategy. And then lastly, it's about how we move, the qualities that we would consider to fall under athleticism: strength, defensive first step, dynamic mobility, and more. And this is the part that we're going to train in this full weight room workout. So without further ado, here's a workout from my Lockdown Defender program that can help you start with this process. So obviously I'll do a little warm up, but that will vary a ton. Oftentimes just a quick 5-minute activity to get the blood flowing and mind working, and then straight into the session. And you see this in some of our virtual academy warm-ups. So you have some freedom here. Now we're getting into our first superset, which is just ramping up. 1A here is active wall T-spine mobility, where I'm starting with the outside of that knee pinned to the wall and trying to get that back arm pressing into the wall by rotating. If you can get it there, you're pressing into that wall as hard as you possibly can, trying to break it. If you're not, you're trying to get further and further closer to that wall, which should feel like a strength exercise, not just a little stretch. Still make sure that knee doesn't pop off the wall. Next, we're going into lateral slides with the toss. The goal here is to fully relax when the ball is in the air and then catch and change direction as fast as we can. So it should feel relaxed and then a quick contraction. Now what I don't want to see is you leaning into the movement, which will slow you down. This should feel like a core movement just as much as a lower body exercise. Then lastly, we're getting moving fast with this footwork dissociation exercise. Watch the pattern here with my feet and just try to imitate it while keeping everything above the waist facing forward, while everything below the waist is rotating. This is training our ability to flip our hips while keeping that chest forward to still play the ball handler. And if you want, try to freestyle and switch up the speeds, which makes it a bit tougher from a coordination standpoint. The next superset is a lateral power superset. So I'm starting with loaded defensive first steps, where we're training that ability to rotate and open up into a sprint directly from a static start. So I'm starting relaxed and then quickly punching whatever object I have as fast as I can as I rotate and turn that foot outwards like I'm transitioning into a sprint. Then resetting and repeating. Now I don't want this to happen where I end up on one foot though. Try to load that foot obviously, but keep the second foot controlled on the ground to the best of your ability. Then is loaded 45-degree split catches. I'm starting off with any type of load in hand, and I'm going from a relaxed standing position to a quick split where that front foot is 45 degrees out in front of me. Not linear like this, but 45 degrees. Think about dropping into that position as quickly as you can, and really pulling yourself into it, and then getting up out of there with the same speed. This is also essentially core exercise, as we're ensuring that my trunk doesn't collapse here. And I'm also making sure I'm fully relaxing here, not just going halfway up like this. And then lastly here is a quick rhythm pop series. First progression, I'm starting popping from one foot to the other, changing speeds from slower, lower hops to a quick backwards pop, trying to be super stiff at that ankle. Then you'd essentially do the same thing but on one foot. Really trying to get our ankles strong at higher speeds in these positions we'd see in defense. Next, we're getting into our linear strength work with a rear foot elevated split squat holding an ISO at the bottom. Notice how I'm trying to drop into that position pretty quickly. And this workout as a whole is still building general strength qualities in the program. So going into a pretty low position with higher amounts of weight and staying there for a few seconds is not only building general unilateral strength, but also getting us more mobile and strong in these low positions, which is huge for defense. You'll then have some active rest here with some single leg stands. You have some options. If you have a kettlebell or something light to pass around your back, do that. If that's too easy, close your eyes and see if you can still hold that one foot stand. This should be tough if you're challenging your ankle proprioception and adaptability here. If you don't have a kettlebell or anything, that's fine. Just stand on one leg and feel free to move your arms. This can be basketball motions, really anything, just to throw off your balance. You should feel these nice little micro adjustments at your ankle, trying to keep you on balance. Then we're going to contrast that with a power punch, getting into a lunge and trying to time up that punch to reach its end point at the same time your foot hits the ground. Again, this can be with any equipment you want, but really push the weight here if possible and try to work on resisting that pull of the trunk forward and getting out of that lunge quickly. Then for our last superset, which would be a lateral strength contrast, we're starting with rotational side lunges. Here I'm trying to access the inside edge of my foot by slightly rotating inwards at the hip. That means that knee will come in a bit, and I'm okay with this. I actually want this. That torso or upper body will also slightly rotate over that knee. I want you to go lighter weight here and just focus on the positions and feeling that rotation. This is much more realistic to the changes of direction on many deceptive basketball movements than a standard side lunge. Then we'll contrast that with the toss, so you're throwing it up in the air and then quickly popping back with almost that first defensive step from there. This is a full-out power exercise, so you're trying to get as far as you can off of that catch, but also finding some rhythm with that toss. Then the active rest here will be a reverse plank, where you're up on your forearms, digging into your heels, fighting to keep your hips up. This should really fire up the hamstrings, which is what we're looking for. We're trying to fit in a bit of accessory strength work. So this workout will last about an hour. This is one of the more intense workouts from that Lockdown Defender program. And of course, this isn't going to be the one workout you do over and over again, but I think you can take from this, learn how we kind of structure a defensive workout in the weight room, and hopefully give the Lockdown Defender program a try. If not, as always, you guys know I'm gonna keep putting out free content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at BYANYMEANS, and stay tuned for a lot more like this.
I'm gonna keep it real, I use DoorDash way too much to save time, which is why we've now partnered with DoorDash to make sure that you get on the wave as well. For a limited time, our viewers can get 50% off up to a $20 value, and $0 delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app and enter code BYANYMEANS. Don't forget, that's code BYANYMEANS for 50% off up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fees with DoorDash. That's 50% off up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code BYANYMEANS. Subject to change, terms apply.